Well, it's Thursday, the day before Easter, April Fool's Day in the morning, when I've got my I've got an medical appointment. I sort of jokingly said to the person who emailed me the appointment, "Oh, this isn't a joke, is it? Because it's April Fool's Day." And of course, they just came back, "Oh no, this is really an appointment." Not sort of picking up on the fact I was just having a bit of fun with them, but. I guess sense of humour is an acquired taste in a lot of places. I just got a letter that was actually addressed to the person who's moving. What a weird way to address a letter. It was actually a professional removalist. So somehow they've discovered that I'm moving house. So that's rather interesting, but I'm going to arrange my own storage. I'm not sure whether I'll get it done locally, because there's a local place in a suburb next door in Portsmouth, and they're reasonably priced and they have better options with the sizes, but they don't have the best security, whereas Cairns Beaches, I think, is a more secure place, but they have a limitation on sizes that you have to, if you get to 1.6 metres height and width. I don't know how deep they are, that's the problem, but the height and width is okay, probably suit my needs, especially if I'm not taking beds, and I don't want to, because I may well buy a place that has beds already there, but I still haven't heard from my the person buying whether they want to take my beds or want the place to be emptied. And if they do, I want to sell the bloody beds rather than having to take them around from place to place, and that would take up a lot of storage space too if I had to put beds in there. So not very practical, especially considering that I don't think I'll be finding a place for I'll be in a position to move into a place for probably a couple of months before I'm going to be able to buy a place to move into. So I was extremely lucky to get that one at Trinity Beach for a month. Really lucky, because I checked the availability and she's booked out all around that time. I just happened to lucked onto a particular time when she wasn't booked for a month, and I was able to get it at fairly short notice. So that was a great get. So I'm very happy with that. But there's no way I'll be able to extend it. So I'll have to go elsewhere now. I might end up heading off to Lynette's place, especially if it's only short term. It doesn't worry me that much. I'd rather have my own place, my own toilet and all that sort of thing. But look, I don't know. At least I've got an extra month after my settlement is completed on the 28th. But the biggest problem is there's just no properties that are suitable on the market at the moment. It's dead as. I mean, that's my major issue. There's a lack of supply, and the one place I thought was actually reasonably decent. It wasn't perfect because I had a pool. I don't want to be paying for a pool, but that had actually had been under contract for 2 weeks, although the real estate agent selling it hadn't actually made that clear. And I think it's really annoying with real estate agents are so slack that they don't contact realestate.com and tell them that a place is actually now off the market. It just stuffs us all around. So I'd actually contacted this agent who's actually based in Edgehill, and they got back to me yesterday. They rang me and just told me, no, it's definitely not for sale, not available, and it's been under contract for 2 weeks. So I suspect that it probably was, but it'd be nice if it was officially stated that way on realestate.com, so we don't get stuffed about. But anyway, it's so you just can't trust what you see in the on realestate.com. Unfortunately, it's not a great guide. Well, this will be the last time I think I'll be doing a video up Lily Creek, because I'll be coming from a different direction. I'm going to be in Trinity Beach from the 28th of this month for a month, and then I might be at Whitfield after that, where Lynette's place is. We'll just see what happens, but I'm just not sure what I'm going to be doing. So everything's up in the air. So it's nice to get the place sold, but if there's no places, suitable places on the market for sale, it sort of makes things tough. Sorry about the ambient sound, but the bloody garbos are doing their thing, and it stinks and it's noisy, and it's just a classic example of life in Parramatta Park. It's a noisy suburb, but that's the first time I've copped them when I'm walking up to the medical facility. So you can smell the garbage. It wafts right across the street. Pretty horrible. You're lucky you can't smell it in the video. So that's the situation with me at the moment. I'm just basically I've got a bit of time to find a place, but realistically a settlement could take some time. They're usually short here, but I doubt whether I'll get a 30-day settlement to purchase. We'll see. Now there are other options to stay around Trinity Beach as well, so that's another option, to just stay at a different place, which would be more like a traditional share situation. There's a couple of places there that are okay, but just have to check out the options. But yeah, it would be good to get all that sorted, and the next major deadline is the building and pest inspection deadline on the 6th of the month, and we'll see what happens with that. But the stock market's been a pain. I was hoping to sell some shares, but it's just all over the place. It generally starts off fairly strong in the morning, and it just dies in the arse as the day goes. This seems to be a pattern that's forming. It's very strange. It just lacks all steam to go ahead. So people are quite tentative about investing there. So yeah, and I bought lots of the CIM stock, which is an engineering company. I thought it'd be a pretty safe bet, but their share price has dropped quite considerably since I've bought it, which is really annoying, because it's one I thought was more a safe investment. So you just never tell with the stock market. The problem is I don't think I'll be able to sell any of those shares for some time, at least months, maybe years, if it's really going to go into a hole. But it's way down on what its normal price is, so I don't know why it's being punished so badly. But people like Warren Buffett warn that, you know, the stock market can be a really crazy place, especially if you're looking short term. It just doesn't make sense. God, the bloody garbos are in this street as well. Oh boy, I'm copping it all today. Well, I had to wear the dreaded mask. I wasn't aware that there's a mandate for 2 weeks in Queensland that you have to wear a mask if you're going shopping or whatever. It started 3 days ago, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So you've got to get around, unless you're outdoors. You have to wear a mask. You go to the supermarket. When I went to the doctor's, I saw the sign saying you have to wear a mask. Luckily I happen to have a mask in my bag, which I've never worn before. Well, not for this purpose anyway. So yeah, crazy. World's gone mad. Apparently something to do, I was talking to the nurse I saw today, and she said something to do with the UK strain that apparently affects young age groups as well as elderly. And I said to her, when's this going to stop? It isn't going to stop. It's going to go on for decades. It's not going to change. We're never going to get back to where we were, I think. We're basically in a period now of utter paranoia. And You know, I've got my doubts about the effectiveness of the mask for a number of reasons. It's got to be the right type of mask, and it's got to be washed regularly or replaced regularly. These things are not happening. It is really a PR exercise to a large extent, and rather sad that we have to use them now in cans for a couple of weeks, which will be off and on over a period of time. You can just imagine this is only the beginning. This was not the end of it. There'll always be an excuse to clamp down on people, and governments are getting used to wielding that power. So I think the lockdown in Brisbane is totally unnecessary. It's ridiculous, and lockdowns don't work. You compare a place like Florida to New York in America, they have got similar stories when it comes to COVID, even though one state has been open and the other one has had major lockdowns like New York. The same could be said for Sweden. Sweden now has a lower COVID rate than the UK, yet they've never had a lockdown. So, yeah, pardon me for questioning the whole thing, but I am. As a rational human being, I've got to ask questions about this. Certainly don't believe in shonks like Fauci, who basically changes his mind at a minute's notice. So YouTube will hate this video, and they'll mark me down as a bad guy again, no doubt. So be it. I don't care. Just really, it's nice to get that mask off. God, it'd be even worse in the middle of summer. Thank God we're getting into cooler weather, but yeah, I find them very irritating to wear. Yeah, well, I've come across one person wearing a mask while walking in the outdoors back towards my place on this very short trip. I've also come across a couple of people who haven't been wearing masks, and I think that's more sensible. It's a breezy day, we're outdoors. Why would you wear it in outdoors? Doesn't make any sense. I hate the bloody things, and the one I've got sold cheap I just used for renovations and stuff, and I've still got it, and I put it in my bag, thank God, because if I hadn't had it there a couple of days ago when I had the medical appointment, I don't know, I suppose they could have given me one from the actual hospital, but I don't know. I had no idea that was actually a mandated requirement. I think maybe governments are a little worried about the political effect now of lockdowns, and they're clutching for other alternatives, so don't be surprised if this becomes almost a permanent feature. I think it's total bullshit, but that's okay. I'm still entitled to my opinion. Yeah, well, that was interesting going into Cairns Central, packed out of course, but not surprising since the day after Good Friday. But what I found interesting is there was a smattering of people who just weren't wearing masks in the centre itself, and even there was an old guy who went into the chemist and he didn't wear one. He was just wandering through the aisles. So that just shows you that people aren't 100% complying up here. Doesn't surprise me. That's sort of what I expect. You know, having a blanket decree for the whole of Queensland, such a big state with different needs in different areas, just insane in my opinion. It's way over the top. Especially somewhere in the outback. Just think how absurd that is, that people are, mind you, in the outback, they're probably ignoring it. Would not surprise me. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.